Pakistan has drawn a nuclear red line in the Middle East, and Iran may have just run out of room to maneuver. Tonight, we are diving into one of the most explosive geopolitical developments unfolding right now, a crisis that could reshape the balance of power across the Gulf forever. Iran's missiles are loaded. Saudi Arabia is on high alert. The United States has tightened pressure around the Strait of Hormuz, but then suddenly another player steps onto the board with a warning so direct, so sharp that it shocked the entire region. That country is Pakistan, and according to Islamabad, Saudi Arabia is now untouchable. Imagine this for a second. You are Iran's military command. Your missiles silos are open. Your Revolutionary Guard is prepared. The Gulf is burning with tension. You have already shown force against the UAE. Your drones and ballistic missiles are positioned for escalation. Then suddenly, a nuclear-armed nation standing on your eastern border delivers a chilling message to the entire world. Saudi Arabia is the red line. Not a suggestion, not diplomacy, a warning. And behind that warning are fighter jets, ballistic missiles, thousands of troops, and one of the world's most powerful armies. There's no longer just about Tehran versus Riyadh. This is becoming a confrontation that could drag the entire Middle East into a historic military showdown. Welcome back. Today, we uncover the hidden military alliance, the strategic calculations, and a dangerous new reality emerging between Iran, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia. Because what is happening right now behind closed doors may decide whether the Gulf descends into all-out war or whether Iran is finally forced to retreat. And trust me, once you see the full picture, you understand why this latest move by Pakistan may be one of the biggest geopolitical game changers in recent Middle Eastern history. The tension in the Middle East has reached a terrifying level. Iran's missile infrastructure along the Gulf Coast has reportedly been placed on a maximum readiness. Military analysts believe the Revolutionary Guard has prepared multiple strike options in case the crisis expands further. At the same time, the Strait of Hormuz remains one of the most dangerous flagship points on Earth. Remember, nearly a fifth of the world's oil supply passes through this narrow waterway. If conflict erupts there, the consequences will shake the global economy overnight. But while everyone was focused on Iran, the United States and Saudi Arabia, Pakistan quietly stepped onto the center of the storm. And on the May 6, Pakistan Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar delivered what may become one of the most important warnings of this crisis. In clear and uncompromising language, he declared that Saudi Arabia's security is a complete no-go area for Pakistan. That statement immediately changed the entire strategic equation, because Pakistan is not just another regional power. Pakistan is a nuclear state, a country with one of the largest standing militaries in the Islamic world, a country that shares a massive border with Iran, and a country that has maintained deep military ties with Saudi Arabia for decades. Suddenly, Tehran was no longer facing only Riyadh and Washington. It was now staring directly into Islamabad. Now here is where the story becomes even more serious. Pakistan's warning was not empty rhetoric. Behind the scenes, military preparations were already underway. During the peak of the crisis earlier this year, Pakistan reportedly reinforced its military footprint inside Saudi Arabia in a massive way. Thousands of Pakistani troops were positioned in the kingdom. Not just infantry units, a light combat formation, strategic support teams, air force assets, and advanced fighter aircraft. Among them were Pakistan Air Force JF-17, Thunderjet and F-16 fighter aircraft stationed at strategic Saudi bases in the eastern region near the Gulf. Think about that carefully. Pakistani fighter jets, operating only a short distance from Iranian territory, ready for immediate deployment if the situation escalates. That changes everything, because now, any Iranian strike against Saudi Arabia carries a dangerous new possibility. The missiles may not only hit Saudi targets, they could also kill Pakistani military personnel. And once that happens, the conflict transforms instantly. It becomes a direct confrontation between Iran and Pakistan. a nuclear armed state. This is the part many people are not fully understanding. Pakistan's involvement creates something Saudi Arabia has already wanted, a nuclear deterrent umbrella. Officially and unofficially, the message is now very clear. If Saudi Arabia faces an existential threat, Pakistan may stand behind the kingdom with its full strategic capability. And that changes Iran's calculation domestically, because Iran's biggest strength has always been missile warfare and regional pressure tactics. But now, every missile launch risks triggering retaliation from a far stronger military network than Tehran originally expected. Pakistan possesses one of the world's most battle-hardened armed forces, hundreds of thousands of active personnel, massive reserve formations, advanced ballistic missile systems, and most importantly, nuclear capability. This is why the warning from Islamabad caused such shockwaves across the region. It was not simply diplomatic language. It was strategic signaling, a message designed to force Iran to stop and reconsider everything. Let us talk about the military reality, because this is where Tehran faces a nightmare scenario. Pakistan's military is ranked among the strongest in the world. Its air force has modern combat aircraft equipped with advanced radar and electronic warfare systems. Its ballistic missile arsenal includes systems capable of reaching deep inside enemy territory. Its cruise missile platform provides additional long-range strike options, and along Iran's eastern frontier lies a dangerous pressure point. Balochistan. For years, tensions in this region have simmered quietly beneath the surface. Cross-border militancy, security disputes, and intelligence operations have created constant friction between Tehran and Islamabad. But in a larger conflict, that border could become a second front, and Iran knows it. Imagine the pressure facing Iranian commanders. To the west, America and Gulf forces. To the south, naval pressure around the Strait of Hormuz. And to the east, Pakistan, a country capable of opening a major military front if pushed too far. That is extremely dangerous strategic position for Tehran. Now here comes the biggest twist in the story. Iran may actually need Pakistan more than ever before, because the economic situation is becoming critical. The pressure around the Strait of Hormuz has severely complicated Iran's trade and energy routes. Sanctions and military tension are squeezing the country from multiple directions. And under these conditions, Pakistan has quietly become one of Iran's most important lifelines. Trade corridors through Pakistani territory have become strategically valuable. Transport routes connecting to the port like Karachi and Gwadar provide Iran with alternative access points for commerce and logistics. In simple terms, Pakistan now holds enormous leverage. If Tehran escalates recklessly against Saudi Arabia, Islamabad would tighten or shut down critical economic channels. That would increase pressure on Iran at the exact moment it can least afford it. So now Iran faces a terrifying dilemma: attack Saudi Arabia and risk military confrontation with Pakistan, or back down and appear strategically weakened in front of regional rivals. Either option carries heavy consequences. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia itself is no easy target. The kingdom has spent years building one of the most advanced air defense networks in the region. Patriot missile batteries, THAAD systems, radar networks, integrated defense coordination. And now layered onto that system is Pakistani support. Together, they create a defensive structure that significantly complicates Iran's missile strategy, because Iran doctrine relies heavily on overwhelming salvos of missiles and drones. But if those attacks are intercepted and retaliation follows immediately, then Tehran's strategy loses much of its power. This is exactly why Pakistani's involvement matters so much. It transforms Saudi Arabia's defense posture from reactive to potentially primitive. That is a completely different level of deterrence. The real message for Pakistan is actually very simple. Do not cross the line. Islamabad understands Iran's desperation. It understands the pressure Tehran is facing, but it also making something crystal clear. Saudi Arabia's security is tied directly to Pakistan's strategic interest. And if Iran ignores that warning, the consequences could spiral far beyond anything Tehran originally calculated. This is why analysts across the region are watching every movement so closely, because one mistake, one missile, one deadly escalation could ignite a reaction involving multiple retaliations. What we are witnessing right now is not just a military crisis, it's a geopolitical chess match. Iran is trying to preserve influence and deterrence. Saudi Arabia is strengthening alliances and defense networks. The United States continues applying pressure across the Gulf. And Pakistan. Pakistan is emerging as the unexpected power broker standing directly between escalation and regional collapse. That alone tells you how much the balance of power in the Middle East is changing. Years ago, few imagined Islamabad would become such a decisive player in the Gulf security calculations. But today, its military presence, nuclear capability, and strategic geography make it impossible to ignore. So here is a massive question now hanging over the Middle East. Will Pakistan warning actually stop Iran from escalating further? Or are we approaching a moment where the region slips into a conflict nobody can fully control? Because if Tehran launches a major strike against Saudi Arabia despite these warnings, the response may not come only from Riyadh, it may come from Islamabad as well. And if that happens, the entire strategic map of the Middle East could change overnight. One thing is certain, the stakes have never been higher, and the next move could decide the future of the Gulf for years to come. If you enjoyed this deep analysis, make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification button, and share your thoughts below. Thank you for watching. Peace be upon you. Bye.